Things are heating up in Chicago. You got Venezuelan gangs terrorizing Chicago gangs. Things might just be reaching the boiling point.
He can't say that. Sir, you can't
Is he
say that.
allowed to say
I'll say
that?
it louder.
America has allowed gangs to enter our country.
The migrants that are coming, they're taking over every block right now.
The city of Chicago is going to go up in smoke, it's going to go up in flame.
Gangs in Chicago are angry over the influx of migrants and criminals in their city. They say money that should be going to the African American community on the South Side is instead going to what they call non-citizens, and warn that turf wars between Chicago's gangs and groups like Venezuela's Tren de Aragua could see Chicago, quote, go up in flames. Photographer Matt McDermott and I traveled to Chicago's South Side.
The criminals are mad that other criminals are in their neighborhoods. How do they think that the citizens feel about them?
To see what was happening for ourselves after we heard about a police report last month that the Tren de Aragua gang had taken over an office building there. We spoke to a number of young, hardcore gang members, as well as gang elders who have retired from the life, and just regular citizens who are very much part of the community. And they're all furious at the estimated $500 million that's reportedly been funneled toward new migrants in Chicago since 2022. And they aren't
This is where me, the civilians, and the Chicago gang members agree. $500 million going to people that are not citizens of this country. I understand that people look at America as the big brother to the world. You can come here, we're going to help take care of you, we want to make sure that you're safe. But what about the people that are already here? That's $500 million that's being taken away from the citizens that are already paying taxes. Regardless if they pay a lot of taxes or a little bit, the money is not for migrants. It's for citizens. Why are you giving the citizens' money away to people that are not citizens of this country? We can't help everybody unless we help ourselves first. And that's not what we're doing. This doesn't make sense.
Say are Venezuelan criminal gangs that are leaving the shelters and spilling out into the South Side into abandoned buildings. I spoke to Tyrone Muhammad of Ex-Cons for Trump, who runs a street patrol and violence prevention program. He's gone straight since his days as an enforcer for the Gangster Disciples. And he said the situation is very tense on the South Side as turf battles between the local gangs and Venezuelan migrants heat up.
It is impossible to release gang members and criminals into our country through the borders and broken walls, and then infiltrate them in our community that's already impoverished, that's already broken, that's already disinvested. And when the black gangs, the leadership in the black gangs in Chicago get fed up with the illegalities and the criminal activity of these migrants or non-citizens, the city of Chicago is going to go up in smoke, it's going to go up in flame, and there's going to be nothing that the National Guard or our government can do about it when the bloodshed hit the streets.
The gang members of Chicago are worried about the criminal activity of the Venezuelan gangs. They're saying that when they get tired of that criminal activity, there's going to be bloodshed in the streets. There's going to be chaos in Chicago. There's already chaos in Chicago because of the Chicago gang members. Now, I agree. We need to send a good portion of the immigrants back. We just can't support everybody. But the people that were previously causing the chaos are worried about new people causing chaos when you're the problem.
Zach Massey did time in state prison with Tyrone Muhammad, although he's only 27. He's a leader on the streets and said he's disgusted by the money going to Venezuelan migrants at the expense, he says, of the African American community.
I can agree with that.
I finally actually talked to him on the translator app, and he told me all the things that he got going on, how they help him get a car, apartment, clothes, link. So it's just like, I just be looking at it like, they ain't got no social security number. Where they come from? He probably not even here legally.
They get right here, they get quick housing, quick funding, food. They get cars with no license. They can't even read English and stuff like that. So they get all these perks when they get here, and we still here starving. So what we gonna do about it? Are y'all gonna listen to our cries?
Again, another point I can agree with the gang members on. Why are we giving all of this money for people to get cars and clothes and houses? Citizens aren't getting any of that. This stuff doesn't come free for citizens, but it's come free for people that are not citizens of this country.
One gang member, who only gave his name as David on a particularly dangerous drug dealing corner on the South Side, did not hold back when he talked about the influx of criminal gangs from other countries into Chicago.
The real issue is that America has allowed gangs to enter our country. Gangs that they would consider ex-terrorist groups that are formed here. We are terrorist groups if we're in a gang. They let terrorists in our country.
It seems to me that the gangs of Chicago terrorize the citizens and each other, and the Venezuelan gangs are terrorizing the gangs of Chicago. And now, for the first time, the Chicago gang members are getting a taste of their own medicine. They're getting to look in the mirror for the first time and see that there's somebody that's willing to take it further than you, and you don't like it.
The Reverend Corey Brooks also said to me he's disgusted with Democratic policies and said that Black Lives Matter, for example, has never reached out to help him or anyone else trying to improve conditions on the South Side.
No,
Chicago is a blue city. Illinois is a blue state. There's no doubt about it that the majority of our neighborhood, they're going to continue to vote Democrat until they wake up. The good news is that there are a lot of people who are responding and waking up and saying, listen, we're not going to take this. We're not going to stand for this. We're going to vote differently. And they're now accepting some of the values that I hold dear and some of the values that the conservative Republican Party holds so dear. And so for a lot of people, it's not about the person, it's about the policies that we're fed up with. And as a result, I think this is going to be the largest amount of people who have voted for a Republican president in Chicago that we've seen.
It's about voting in your best interest, regardless of which party that is. So you have to look at their policy and ideology and determine if that's something that you want to align with. It's not about, oh, this person is a Democrat, so they're going to be good, or this person is a Republican, so they're going to be bad. It's about who has the policies that align with what I believe and what I need for my family and my community. And I'm going to vote for that person so that they can implement it.
I also spoke to one Venezuelan man who was so scared of being identified that he put a hoodie on and refused to face the camera. He told me in Spanish that he had to flee the building where he was being housed because a Venezuelan criminal gang took it over. He said if they knew he was talking, they'd end his family's life back in Venezuela with one bullet. You know, what struck me the most about our week in Chicago was how intelligent and self-aware these gang members and ex-gang members are about their community. You understand when you talk to them that joining a gang and making big money selling drugs is often too tempting to resist when faced with the lack of other real opportunities to make money. And for a place known mostly in news stories for being bloody and violent at night, the area is like a village during the daytime. Everyone knows each other, and believe it or not, there's a friendly vibe. But we spoke to a lot of people, and their patience is being stretched thin. I would not be surprised to see the gangs here taking action once the Venezuelans try to get a real foothold here.
It's funny that she's surprised by the intelligence of the gang members. I think there's a misconception that criminals are stupid. Are some criminals stupid? Absolutely. But there are also people that are intelligent but too impatient to do a 9-to-5 system, which is why they turn to crime. I agree with the gang members on the immigration thing. We need to stop accepting more people into this country and handle the problems that we already have with the citizens we already have. We shouldn't be giving $500 million in just one city to people that are non-citizens of this country. We shouldn't have gangs from another country imported here, taking over buildings and apartments. Whether they're abandoned or not, they shouldn't be here in the first place to have the opportunity. But I have to recognize something. There's a saying, the pot calling the kettle black. And I think that's what we're seeing. The gang members who normally terrorize the neighborhoods are being terrorized by a gang from another country. The same way that the local citizens are normally terrorized by the local gangs, that's what the local gangs are experiencing from the Venezuelan gangs. And hopefully it doesn't lead to bloodshed. Hopefully we can get these Venezuelan gangs back to their country, back to their culture. And maybe, just maybe, the Chicago gangs will see the terror that they cause to the local citizens and change their ways. Till next time, peace.